Because we have the ability to be more flexible and adaptable, no two homeschool years are the same. We're always tweaking and changing a little bit year by year, right? So here are the highs and lows of this year. If you're new here, I'm Rian, a Christ-following wife and a homeschool mom to 3 boys. Here we talk all things homeschool, and we will learn together how to use our roles as wife, mom, teacher, and homemaker in order to glorify God. So a few more math lessons and Sunlight lessons, and we are done with the 2020-2021 school year. Now we do kind of school year round. That's why this is kind of later than some people end their school years, and we'll be starting back sooner than most people start. So that's just so that we can kind of take a lighter load day by day. But this is when I'm officially kind of putting a pin in it saying this school year is over. So here are some of the great things that happened this school year with our curriculum and such, and here's some of the not so great things. And so this will help us kind of gauge what we need to do next year. So good news first, okay? A lot of people like the bad news first, but I'm gonna do the good news first today. Best news of all, we found sunlight this year. This has been the missing piece of our homeschool since we started. I don't know why I waited so long to try it. I think because the price tag scared me, and then I realized I could do it without spending the money for the entire bundle that was way out of our budget. So once I figured that out, I am so glad that we found sunlight. You can check out up above the reasons why we love sunlight, so I won't go into that. But this has been a lifesaver for our family. This has brought us closer together. It has helped us to get into more books, which I always was feeling like we don't have time for all the books. Well, this is helping us get into more of those books, and it has been so good. So good. And it is the best way that I have found for our family to tackle history, especially because history can be either very dry and boring, or it can be very overwhelming because you're trying to make it more fun by doing all the projects and all the this and all the that. Well, Sunlight has made that a lot more simple for us, where it's enjoyable but not hard. Second piece of good news is that we still love Saxon. Big surprise, right? Well, it kind of was a surprise this year because my oldest son was moving out of that elementary, Saxon has kindergarten through 3rd as kind of their elementary segment. And he was moving into Saxon 5-4, which is more of their mid-level series. And I was kind of nervous because the format completely changes, and I didn't know that I would love this new format. But I do, because it is a lot more student-led. A lot of the time I give him his lesson, I say, do what you can. As far as teaching himself the lesson, and then he does the lesson practice, and that shows me if he actually understood what he taught himself or not. And if he didn't, then I go back through it and I help him learn. If he gets all of his lesson practice answers right, then I assume that he understood the lesson, and then he can move on to his mixed practice. And so it has taken a lot of pressure off of me, and he has actually liked kind of taking the reins and doing it himself. And the third piece of good news isn't really anything new, but we still love Apologia. It is our favorite science, and we will continue to use it because it is just amazing. It isn't a textbook per se, but it does not read like a textbook. The notebooking journals add another element in there where it's a little more hands-on, but without me having to go crazy finding all these experiments all by myself. They kind of have them set up, do what you want, leave the rest. Easy peasy and super fun. We did astronomy this year, and I had a friend help lead the science experiments, so I didn't have to do that. And so it was a lot of fun this year. Now for the bad news. Nothing was horrible this year. There wasn't any piece of curriculum or anything that I looked at and I was like, oh my gosh, I hated that we did this. So that's good news. But the bad news is we just had too much in certain areas, namely language arts. So I still love 100% the Well-Trained Mind program. So this is writing with ease, first language lessons through elementary. That's what they use. And I still love that program. I will never diss that program, but we're going to have to try something a little different, because when you took those two things, but then also had to add in vocabulary and spelling and handwriting, language arts was taking us half a day, and Mama doesn't have that time anymore. I've got too many kids and another on the way, and I just don't have time to devote half a day to language arts anymore. So this tells me that next year we're taking out our vocab, because Sunlight has vocab in it. I don't know why I felt like I had to do an actual vocab curriculum on top of that. We loved Wordly Wise. If you're looking for a vocab curriculum, I highly suggest them, but we just don't need it right now. So we're dropping that. And we're going to keep our spelling, but we're changing all of our writing and grammar from the well-trained mind into something else, just so that we can condense things and not spend half the day on language arts. So Jude, my 4th grader, who will be a 5th grader next year, will be transitioning into EIW, not IEW, EIW. And this is writing and grammar all in one. So that kind of reduces the amount of time we have to spend on it, but it's also a video curriculum. And so I will either get the streaming service or maybe order the DVDs. I haven't decided yet. And I will kind of be close in case he has questions, and I'll make sure that he understood the lesson, but there's not going to be a lot of hands-on time for me, which is kind of what I need next year. And as far as Jonas, my 2nd grader, I'm not exactly sure what we'll be doing next year. I've tossed around a couple ideas, maybe throwing him in EIW as well. They have younger levels. Maybe, I'm not even gonna say it yet, but there's another one we may be trying. I will put a video up if we decide to do it, but both of them will be condensing things down, where they will only have either EIW and spelling instead of all those different elements that I just told you, or I'll find something else that's kind of more all-in-one for my 2nd grader, who will be a 3rd grader. And then this year we've discovered, toward the end of the year, we've just got to trim off the extras. We don't have time for everything. I hate that. I fought against this for years, but we just got to let some stuff go. So next year I'm not sure exactly how we'll handle this. We know for sure we're going to stick with no formal nature study curriculum. Like, we started off that way this year. We started off with an actual nature study guide and all this stuff. We don't need that. We just need to go outside. My kids naturally do nature study. And we're not introducing a new Latin next year. We're going to kind of take the year off and review, and then have a little powwow again the next year and see what we need to go to from there. If anything, I don't know. But we're taking a breather from Latin. We'll just review some. And then, like I said, we're condensing down our language arts because we just cannot do everything. I wish we had more hours in the day, but that's never going to happen. So we're the ones who have to change. So here's to hoping that recognizing our flops from this year will help us to have a smoother next year. So let me know down below, what are your wins for the year? What is something that you felt like you nailed this year? Please subscribe if you haven't. My next video will be another biblical womanhood video all about responsibility, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.